Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD podcast, where it's all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the EntreMD podcast. I am excited as always, and I have an amazing guest here, the Dr. Alicia Shelly, and she is a board-certified internal medicine doc. She's obesity trained, and she is one of the fabulous doctors in the EntreMD Business School, and we are going to be sharing her story today. And you're going to get a lot out of this. So I want you to lean in and enjoy. So welcome to the show, Doc.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this. All right. So now we're going to kind of dig into things that happened because I believe it will be so helpful for everyone listening, right? You know, I love autobiographies. And the reason why is because I find myself, everybody will find themselves in the stories, and it lets you go like, wait a minute, I can do amazing things too, you know? So what was business life like before the business school, right? Because something made you go like, maybe I should do this and stuff like that. What was it like?
So for me, my business wasn't there. I felt the urge to do something more. I felt like I wasn't actually doing my purpose. There was something more for me to do. And I didn't know exactly what it was. And so a friend had mentioned Dr. Una's podcast, and I started listening to that. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's more avenues outside of me just seeing patients from 9 to 5. And so I was like, what can I do? What can I do? And then I went on a call you had with just kind of introducing the business school. And I was like, okay, let me learn more. I was like, I don't have an idea. I don't know what to do. And then it hit me, do a podcast. And so I started planning. I bought books on how to do a podcast. And I was just kind of dragging my feet. And then I was supposed to actually launch my podcast June 1st. I told everybody June 1st, but I didn't put it on social media. I was just like, I just told my friends. But then June 1st came and went, and I was like, well, maybe it was July 1st. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, Alicia, you need help. You need guidance. You need somebody to kind of help you take you to that next level, because by yourself, you're just kind of, just doing it. You're just kind of just half doing it. And so that's when I ended up joining the EntreMD Business School. And so let me step back. During the EntreMD Live, Dr. Una was like, look, we have an hour for lunch. Introduce yourself to your public. And I was like, what? I have to do a podcast? Like I have to do a post? It literally took me a whole hour, the whole lunch to do this post. And I was like, hi, what did I say? And so I put it out there, and I was like, you know what? July 1st, this podcast is dropping. And I got so much good feedback. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I thought people would be like, oh, another podcast. But people were very receptive. And so since coming to the business school, it's been just 180 degrees.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay, so let's do a few things here because I love that you said what you said. Like my business wasn't there, right? Like it wasn't there. And I can identify with that because when I signed up for my first program, like I was like, I just know there's more. I don't know what more is, but whatever it is, I want it. So we're twins like that. Now, who told you about the podcast? Because we can shout that doc out right now.
Yes, Dr. Barbara Joy.
Dr. Barbara Joy. Yes. Shout
Yes.
out to you. Thank you for telling the amazing Dr. Shelley about it. Now she has her own stuff going on. I love it.
Mhm.
And I love that you're a massive action taker, right? Because this is EntreMD Live. It was lunchtime. You could have just said, I don't want to do this post. It's no biggie. Not knowing that post would give you some validation, right? Some juice that will help you go with your podcast. Not that we have to depend on external validation or anything like that, but it doesn't hurt, So it doesn't hurt at all.
It encourages me. I'm on the right track.
Yeah. So that was really good. Okay. And that thing of I was trying, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And it's not really working. Like, I just need to find a place, right? Like find a place where there's the accountability, there's the, the coaching, all that stuff, and I can do it. So that's amazing. So you've been in this school for 30 days. And some people say like, so why are we talking? Like we should come back after a year. And I'm like, no, because so much happens in 30 days, right? And we need to celebrate on our way. So in 30 days, what has that experience been like? What are some of the wins that you've had?
Well, first off, being in the business school, there is such positive energy. Like people are just encouraging you. If you put your win out there, they're encouraging you to go forward, and I'm encouraging them. So it's just a positive energy. You see like-minded individuals that are actually working their business, and each day, each week, doing something bigger and greater. And so since being in the business school, I've been encouraged and pushed to speak more. And so I've gotten the opportunity through some of my own colleagues to be on their podcast. So coming up, I'll be a guest interview on 2 podcasts, which I'm so excited. Women, You Carrying Dots with Dr. Tamara, and then Dr. Rebecca, Women Physicians Flourishing. So I'm super excited about that. I'm on here with you, third podcast.
Third podcast.
And then I was talking to a friend about my signature talk because we're trying to cultivate our signature talk. What is it that we speak about? What are we more confident in? What can we talk about at any minute's notice? And she was like, hey, I want you to talk about weight regain at the Georgia chapter of the American Society of Metabolic Bariatric Surgeons. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
That's my people. That's the people who I need to talk to. They send me more patients. So, I mean, and if I hadn't mentioned it to her, she wouldn't have been like, oh, yes, I wanted to invite you.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been submitting proposals to my own ACP chapter, and I haven't gotten any response. So the fact that in this 30 days, it has transformed where I was able to get an invitation. So I'm super excited. And then I did not mention the other win I had is that I actually started my podcast. I actually did it. I did it. I just released it July 1st. It was there. And so in each week, I've been consistent. I've had my first guest interview, which was great.
Nice.
So that is good. So and then there's more. I also interviewed for 2 articles in the shape.com magazine. So on their website. So I've had 2 articles that I've interviewed in. So I've been extremely blessed in these last 30 days.
Wow. So you're putting yourself out quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit. And so let me ask, now I'm curious, introvert or extrovert?
I'm introverted.
You are.
I enjoy staying at home alone. I mean, not alone, but, by myself, I have no problem.
Well, okay. So for all the introverts listening, she's an introvert, but here she is putting herself out there massively. That is huge. That's amazing. Now, so with being able to do all these things in a 30-day period, how has that affected you, whether that's confidence, whether that's other aspects of your life, whether that's what your perception of the future is? What kind of impact has it had on that?
It actually has helped my confidence. I think being in these last 30 days, I've wanted to ask people to be an interview on my podcast. And I think before Entre EBS, I don't think I would have asked them because I would have been afraid that, oh, they're going to say no. And so there is this one person I want to ask for my podcast who's been on TV. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should ask them. But I'm like, you know what? They can only say no. So I'm getting my email together, what I want to say, and then just send it out there and be like, hey, look, it can either say yes or say no. So I do feel like I'm more confident, not only with doing the podcast, but then also I feel more confident with doing a Facebook Live or an Instagram reel. So these are things that I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone because, like I said, I'm an introverted. I can read a book, I can stay in a room and I'll be very happy. But I feel more confident to be able to get out there and just put myself out there without worrying about what people are going to say.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next year with you because I mean, if you're saying it took me an hour to do one Facebook post and now you're all over the place, I don't know what we're going to do with you, right? That's amazing. And you made a statement. I think I saw a post that you did, and you said, I have finally gone from researching to taking action. Can you talk to us about that? Because when I saw it, I was like, this is gold. Like, this right here, you can say, yeah, you guys can enjoy the rest of the year. I'm leaving. I got what I came for. Like, it's that good.
Yeah. So when I was trying to do this podcast, I think I signed up for at least a good 2 master classes. I did somebody's online course with a podcast. I bought a podcast journal, John Lee Dumas's podcast journal. Like I was just kind of researching, doing everything I can to figure it out. And I enjoyed the research, but to actually put it into action would cause my stomach to just turn flips. So, and I think I probably could have still been researching and trying to get it done and trying to make it quote unquote perfect. And what I realized is that, although it may not be perfect in my mind, or I can always see areas that that I can improve on, by me just starting and putting my message out there, people are getting the information. And I think the biggest compliment I had was that one of my friends' 10-year-old daughter, she was listening to the podcast and actually really liked the podcast. And I was like, she did? And she's only 10? I mean, kids will tell you exactly how they feel. So the fact that she actually liked it made me feel like, oh, wow, I'm doing something.
I passed the 10-year-old test.
Exactly.
And maybe this is a total sidebar for everyone who's a parent. I think it's really cool when we're doing any kind of personal development to just have our kids do it with us. And you might say, are they understanding? I don't know, but we take them to the movies, right? And we don't go like, do they understand everything? You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's really cool. And I have the same experience you have. I have teenagers listening with their parents and they're like, oh, I signed up for that debate club thing, and I was going to go out there because I'm overcoming imposter syndrome. And that's from listening to the podcast. And I'm like, that is so wild, or people who are like, oh, all my children know your voice. You know what I mean? Because we listen to you on the way to school. So that's so cool. And I know that feeling. And now going back to what you were saying about the research, I want to sit there a little bit because this is so powerful. And for everyone listening, I really want you to get this. We're doctors. We love to research, right? Because notice what you said, and I was enjoying the research, right? So we love to research. We love to sign up for many, many courses. And there's nothing bad with signing up for courses, but you have to check what your motive is, right? Am I signing up so I can get some more information? Am I signing up so I can learn more? Or am I really procrastinating? And how you know is the little that I do know, am I doing it? If you're not doing it, but you want to sign up so you can get some more training and understand it deeper, then chances are you're using that course, you're using the extra research as procrastination. That's just what you're doing. Like, rather than take action, I'm going to learn some more because that's a good thing. So I'll feel good that I'm doing a good thing. But you're procrastinating, right? So just call yourself out and go start taking action. I love that you said that. Now, are you noticing that you're doing that? You're picking up on that more. Like when you're in research mode, you're like, okay, Dr. Shelly, we're going to kind of have to take some action here. Like, are you noticing that?
Yes, yes. Because sometimes I prefer to do that, like without having to do it. My goal is this week to do an Instagram reel. And I've been trying to go online to figure out how to do a reel. And I have to download the app. It's taking me 2 days to download the app. So I realized that by the end of this week, I'm going to do this Instagram reel. So you're absolutely right. I enjoy researching and studying, but then I'm like, you just got to go. And the other thing I want to point out, I was actually listening to your podcast and you were saying, stop tinkering with your website and pay somebody to do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's yelling at me through the radio. But she's absolutely right. That evening, I signed up for Fiverr and got somebody to do my website. And I was like, I would never have done this. This is beautiful. And so you're right. Sometimes I'll procrastinate and I'll tinker around, but then you just have to bite the bullet and say, okay, I need someone to help me to get me to this next level. And so that's what I'm learning. Feel free to ask others. If you don't know, ask.
I love it. I love it. Research, research enough to get the action done and delegate for the love of Christ. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Shelly. We got it. Now, where can people find this podcast? Because, I want them to check it out and go subscribe. So what is it about? Where can they find it?
Yes. So wherever you listen to podcasts, please go to Back on Track, Overcoming Weight Regain with Dr. Alicia Shelly. And just Google, you can just put it in the search engine and then my face will pop up. And what the podcast is about is that we're trying to help people to get back on track after losing weight and then regaining some of that weight back. Sometimes that's the hardest time to get right back on track with your lifestyle change because you're just discouraged after gaining the weight back. So my goal is to kind of help motivate, give you some mindset tips, and then help you have some momentum in going forward and getting back on your lifestyle change.
And that's critical, right? Because, losing weight is one thing and it's really powerful. But if you gain some of that back, to get back to the mode where you're like, okay, let's get back on this journey, that can be really tough. So I'm grateful you're doing that. And, for the docs listening, this may not be for you, but maybe it's for your patients or, maybe it's for a friend that you have or so. So just share that with them. That's amazing. Now, what would you say to the doc who is where you were, where they're like, well, I don't have an idea. And maybe they had an idea. They're like, finally, like, okay, I've listened to a few episodes and I want to do a podcast or something. And they're like, procrastinating, researching a lot and all of that. So they're kind of where you were. What would you tell them?
I would tell them to start. I was listening to some people online on Clubhouse, actually, and they were saying, oh, you should make sure you have 5 episodes before you launch. And I was like, you know what? If I get 5 episodes, it may take me a whole nother 2 to 3 months to get there. So let me just go with what I have, The other thing is physicians, we tend to be more perfectionist, and I'm an overcomer. I'm in remission of perfectionism. I'm trying to overcome it. So
I have not heard that. I've not heard remission used in that sense yet. So thank you for educating me. I'm in remission.
It's rough because you want it to be perfect and it's just not going to be, because you have to learn, you have to get your reps in. And so I'm sure if you look at, let's say, Dr. Una yourself, your first podcast from your more present podcast, there are areas where you've improved. And so in order to get to that point, it just takes experience and keeping doing your reps. So start. Don't let people discourage you. Do not listen to any haters or negative talk, because the one, I can't remember the exact quote, but what I'll paraphrase, basically people can't see your vision, and so you need to be able to know what it is that you are supposed to do and do it, and don't allow other people to take you off that path.
I love it. So just start. Don't listen to the haters. Don't get discouraged. I love it. Love, love, love it. Okay, people. So you heard her. So go subscribe to her podcast. And this may be for you if you're starting. This may be for you if you're scaling, whichever place you find yourself in, just start, just take that next step. There's a lot of negativity out there. And that's one of the reasons why I really love the community of the EntreMD Business School, because I think it's the most positive place for physicians on the web, period. You know what I mean? And you can have people who will support you, and you have people who will call you out with love. You know what I mean? And you have your own tribe you can go to, because it's a really negative place. So you want to surround yourself, with people who are positive, people who are going somewhere. And we can do this. I really believe in physicians. We memorize the Krebs cycle. We can intubate people. We can do heart transplants, so we can figure out business. This is it's not the easiest thing, but compared to what we've done, we can do this. So go do your thing. And when you experience some breaks, right? When you experience oh my goodness, I am no longer researching, I'm in action. You come tell Dr. Alicia Shelly, your episode on the EntreMD podcast changed my life. Okay. So thank you so much for coming on here, Dr. Shelly, to take us behind the scenes and to share your story and being vulnerable, because this is the real stuff that actually helps people. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And for everyone listening, go share the episode. You never know who's going to start or scale their business because of this. And I will see you, my friend, on the very next episode of the EntreMD podcast. Hey, if you love listening to the EntreMD podcast, I want to invite you to join EntreMD On Demand. It is my signature subscription program that gives you access to a library of business courses designed to help you do one thing as a physician entrepreneur, and that is to thrive. Just head out to entremd.com/on-demand, and I'd love to have you join us. See you on the inside.